G'day and welcome to a new video. Today's video is going to be about rotary mowing. Actually, going to be looking at this little patch of grass next to the pool. So on this little patch of grass here, clearly you don't see it in any other videos really, because I'm not cylinder mowing it like I am the rest of the main lawn. Now, I recorded two separate YouTube videos out here earlier in the year where I split this up into 4 sections and I did different sorts of renovations on them. So check those videos out, I'll link them somewhere. But yeah, beyond doing that, I haven't maintained this area super well. It's got a pretty nice color for this time of year. The idea and the reason it's not being maintained like the rest of the yard is that, you know, currently there's a fire pit just sitting there. We'd like to do some sort of fire pit area. We had a huge plan at one point, which I don't think is going to happen. We're not going to have any sort of need for that. Yeah, I want to get an irrigation system, so I'd like to put in water tanks, some slimline water tanks along that fence there. Yeah, like I said, fire pit and maybe some other bits and pieces. So there's a chance that come spring we figure some of those things out and that main lawn area gets a little bit bigger. But yeah, as a whole, this space at the moment, not sure what's happening with it. So it's just a bit of a project area where I do bits and pieces with this rotary mower. I'm really expecting winter to start taking more and more of a toll on this section as it gets colder. You know, we're almost in the middle of winter. So yeah, especially over the next 4 weeks, expecting it to really get some damage. This mower, I don't use it very much. I haven't mowed this section very much at all since I did that reno project and just in ongoing maintenance. So look, you know, I'm a bit nervous to look under there because it's done a bit of renovation work. It's, you know, not been treated the nicest, so I'm not super confident how it's going to look. Definitely, these blades are going to be super dull. Let's check it out. Also, if you follow me on Instagram, you know exactly who that is and why she's there. But been there 3 days, no duck poo around my pool, and I am ecstatic about it. Now I've just tilted this mower back. That's probably a good side note to have, is that I know that I can do that safely with this mower, but I'm no expert. I know with other mowers it depends on the oil and the petrol and you tilt them to one side, but yeah, always good to check. Even ask in a Facebook group or something like that about your mower and which way to tilt it to work on it. When the very first time I ever wanted to sharpen mower blades with my old second-hand mower that I was given, I flooded the engine or did something and killed it. So be careful of that. Here's what we're working with under here though. I don't think it's showing up that well in the camera, but it's not too bad. Oh my God. Well, it's 20 minutes later and I couldn't find the drill bit I needed, so the time that I had to record this has slowly diminished away. Still got a bit of time, still can get it done. So I've got my drill bit and I'm just going to take off the blades one at a time. Not ideal doing this on grass when you've got little bits you don't want to lose, but this is how cooked these mower blades are. So you can see here, this is not too far off snapping, but it's actually this side of the blade here that cuts the grass, and that wouldn't cut through a piece of watermelon. That is so blunt. So what we need to do is sharpen these, because that blunt sort of blade, when it chops the grass, is just going to be absolutely hacking at it. When you are just hacking at the grass like that, not getting a nice clean cut, that's when you are going to, your lawn's going to look crap. First of all, you're going to get more yellowing of the grass blades and things like that. It can also promote disease and things along those lines. And overall, just the finish, not as clean, not as nice. So we need to sharpen this. Now, hopefully something that is obvious enough at this stage is that I need completely new mower blades. These are fairly stuffed. There's not a lot of meat left on the bone. They're chipping away, whatever. But I don't have any right now, and I'm not that fussed with my rotary mower blades because I'm mowing this every now and again. 2-3 months time, this is going to be scalping grass and getting, you know, abused. So I'm not too fussed. I'll probably put new blades on it maybe after that, but yeah, it's not like I'm trying to maintain a really nice lawn with this, so I'm not as fussed. Now what I've got on my grinder here is an 80 grit flap disc. You want a flap disc that is going to be a little more forgiving on the blade and not be like a solid blade that's going to really rip out heaps. I like to hold it in a clamp like that. You could use a bench clamp or something else. I just don't want to be holding on to the tip of the actual or onto the end of the actual mower blade. Just give myself a little bit of separation, and then you just want to go along on that cut edge that is currently very blunt and get it nice and sharp. All right, it's looking a bit better, but it's still super blunt on the actual cutting edge. So I'm gonna go a bit more of a All right, you can see that there now. That is a much sharper edge. I don't want to run my finger on that because I'm gonna cut it. Something I did do was sharpen the underside of the blade. Sometimes you hear people say not to do that. Some people say it doesn't matter. In this case, because it was so blunt, just to give it a little bit on the bottom side, a little bit of an angle to make that top angle meet up with it a bit better to get it nice and sharp, I think is worth it. But yeah, generally, you'd probably, there might be a really good reason for it, I'm not sure, but you'd want to get that top side of the blade really sharp and angled down to, yeah, get it nice and sharp. In a second, I'll show you a comparison of sharp versus blunt, and you can really see that difference. And then I'm just going to run through and sharpen them all and put them all back on. I'll time lapse it, I'll tell you how long it takes. This is one of those jobs that doesn't take that long, especially when you've got all your tools in order and you're efficient at it. I'm running out of time as well, so I'll get that done. Definitely want to make sure you put them back on the right way. And something you definitely want to make sure that you do is don't put them back on too tight. That is a problem that some people will have, is that they really over tighten. And then especially under here, if you leave it a bit too long before you come back next time and do this, or clean out under there, which is something else that I need to do here, then you're going to have some real struggles getting the blades off. Whereas if you just don't over tighten, you just get them just tight enough. Even though I am using an impact driver, you can probably just do a socket set, just a little bit there. Oh, I actually did that way too loose. Now I'm talking about it, that's why I always check. There you go, that's not moving, but I'm gonna be able to get it off easily. Something else that someone once told me in a message on Instagram is that you can undo this bolt and take out the whole part of that lower system with the blades on it. That's probably a good idea to take the whole thing out and then take these off, but I just like to take off each mower blade individually for the reason I just spoke about, with them getting gunk and stuff stuck in there. But yes, you could take off the whole thing. It's probably a bit quicker, less stuffing around, less kneeling down, but as a whole, I just like to take each blade off, however often it is, just to make sure that, yeah, it's not getting that build up of gunk in there. Well, if you want to record something, it always helps to press record, which I didn't do while I was just mowing this. So I did record it on my phone for another, for an Instagram video, but so I might overlay that onto this clip. not the smoothest day of recording a YouTube video, but hopefully you get something out of that. The importance of sharpening your mower blades and exactly how to do it. Super underrated thing that's pretty quick and easy. Look, how often should you do it? You know, if you're doing it every 2 months or something, you're way ahead of most people. You know, some people say every 6 to 8 to 10 mows. It probably depends how big your yard is. If you can at least make the effort every few months, every couple of months, probably get 2, 3, 4 sharpens out of it and then get a new set of mower blades. It's those little things that if you care and you want a nicer lawn, which, you know, you're watching lawn YouTube, so you probably do want a nicer lawn to some degree, but it's definitely worth the effort. So yeah, definitely recommend it, definitely do it. And this grass here is in pretty good condition, especially after a tidy up mow. I stand by any grass of any sort, once it gets a cut, always looks so much nicer. So this is no exception. It's pretty nice coverage. It's had some reno work on some parts of it within the last 6 months, so it's not too bad. We're going to ignore this garden bed. I think I want to do something else with the garden beds alongside the pool, but they're looking horrendous. But yeah, anyway, this is a pretty nice patch of grass. I also need to say, one of the biggest tips for your lawn looking better in winter as well is what I've done on here, and this is why I was recording for Instagram as well, is that all I've done out here, it was every time I mowed on a number 6, it was just scalping and getting some crappy marks on the lawn. But what I've done is taken it up to a number 8, and look at that, just leaving a little bit extra on it. So that's something you can do. Your lawn, if you're mowing at a decent height and it's scalping every time, it needs a full renovation. But what you can do for the short term, raise it 2, 3 notches, whatever it may be, so that it looks a lot nicer. This is the same grass, it hasn't been renovated, but mowing 4 weeks ago on a 6 looked awful. Mowing now on a number 8 looks a lot tidier and a lot nicer. So just an extra one as well that is very helpful, and that'll be the post that goes on Instagram. But anyway, hopefully that was helpful today. Thanks for watching, have a good one. Subscribe and like the video and stuff if you feel like it. I'll see you in the next one.